Already we've seen NATO countries recognize the severity of this problem. That it is going to be a long-run problem. Immediately, they've dedicated resources to help us with humanitarian airdrops. To provide arms to the Peshmerga and to the Iraqi security forces. And we welcome those efforts. What we hope to do at the NATO summit is to make sure that we are more systematic about how we do it. That we're more focused about how we do it. NATO is unique in the annals of history as a successful alliance. But we have to recognize that threats evolve, and threats have evolved as a consequence of what we've seen in Ukraine. But threats are also evolving in the Middle East that have a direct effect on Europe. And to go back to what I said earlier to Anne, we know that if we are joined by the international community, we can continue to shrink ISIL's sphere of influence, its effectiveness. Its financing, its military capabilities to the point where it is a manageable problem. And the question is going to be making sure we've got the right strategy. But also making sure that we've got the international will to do it. This is something that is a continuation of a problem we've seen certainly since 9/11, but before. And it continues to metastasize in different ways. And what we've got to do is make sure that we are organizing the Arab world, the Middle East. The Muslim world along with the international community to isolate this cancer, this particular brand of extremism that is. First and foremost, destructive to the Muslim world and the Arab world and North Africa, and the people who live there. They're the ones who are most severely affected. They're the ones who are constantly under threat of being killed. They're the ones whose economies are completely upended to the point where they can't produce their own food, and they can't produce the kinds of goods and services to sell in the world marketplace. And they're falling behind because of this very small and narrow, but very dangerous, segment of the population. And we've got to combat it in a sustained, effective way. And I'm confident we're going to be able to do that. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Mr. President. Barack Obama. Trans-Pacific Trade Pact address at Nike headquarters. Delivered May 8, 2015, Beaverton, Oregon. Hello, Oregon. Well, who arranged this day? Audience, no. President Obama, never. Audience member, don't come to California. President Obama, all right. Well, listen, it is wonderful to see all of you. First of all, please give Mark another round of applause for his hospitality. And thanks to everyone at Nike for hosting us today, here in Federerplatz. You know. The White House is cool. We've got a basketball court actually. It's a tennis court that we repainted some lines when I came into office. So it's a combination basketball tennis court. There is a putting green that President Eisenhower put in. Can you imagine, by the way, if I had put in a putting green? Things have changed. But you've got all that and the 18th tee box from Pebble Beach. Come on. I'm sure some of my staff is running around right now in the Michael. Jordan and Mia Hamm buildings, they want to be lab rats for your new gear. But it is wonderful to be here. Please give it up for two people who fight every single day for Oregon workers, your representatives in Congress. They do a great job, Earl Blumenauer and Suzanne Bonamassa. They are both here. Give them a big round. Of applause. Yay. And there are two people who couldn't make it here today. But they're doing a great job and you should give them a round of applause as well, and that's Senator Ron Wyden and Representative Kurt Schrader. So it is great to be at the world headquarters of such an iconic company. A company that helps athletes succeed from the individual to the world stage. And as you've heard, I've come to Oregon to talk a little bit about trade, which initially may have had some people thinking, what, is Mariota going someplace that we didn't know about? He's going to be. Great. He's an outstanding young man. He's going to be terrific, and from Hawaii, by the way. Local boy. But this is important, and I want to tell you why I think trade deals and are willingness to go out there and compete on the global stage is so important. Before I came out here, I had a chance to meet with some small business owners from across Oregon. Whose workers make everything from bikes to tea to stationery to wine. And they know how important this is to them. Sometimes when we talk about trade, we think of Nike, or we think of Boeing. Or we think of GE, we think about these big multinational companies. But those small business leaders came here today because they understood that these markets outside the United States will help them grow, and will help them hire more folks. Just as all the suppliers to Nike or Boeing or GE or any of these other companies. Understand this is going to be critical to their growth and their ability to create new jobs. In fact, that's why Ron Wyden is not here, because he's in Washington, D. C. as we speak, quarterbacking this effort on behalf of Oregon's small business owners and workers. Now, small businesses are the backbone of our economy. Eventually, like Nike, they grow sometimes into really, really big companies. They employ millions of people. 98% of exporters are small businesses. They're the ones who make made in Oregon and made in the USA mean something. And they represent something essential about this country, the notion that if you've got a good idea and you're willing to work at it, you can turn that idea into a business. You can growth that business, and eventually, who knows what might happen. You can give other people a chance to earn a living even as you do well. That's America's promise. And it's up to us to keep that promise alive. Now, that promise was threatened for almost everybody just about 7 years ago, when the economy nearly collapsed. And millions of Americans lost their jobs and their homes and their life savings. But thanks to the hard work of the American people and entrepreneurs like the ones who are here today and some pretty good policies from my administration. We're in a different place today. We're in a different place today. This morning, we learned that our economy created 223,000 new jobs last month. The unemployment rate ticked down again to 5.4%, which is the lowest it's been in almost 7 years. That's 3 million new jobs over the past 12 months, nearly the fastest pace in over a decade. And all told, over the past 62 months in a row, America's businesses have created 12.3 million new jobs. I should add, by the way, 62 months ago is when I signed the Affordable Care Act. So, obviously, it hasn't done too bad in terms of employment in this country. I just thought. I'd mention that. Since there were a lot of predictions of doom and gloom. I would just suggest those who were making those predictions go back and check the statistics. Just saying. So small businesses deserve a lot of credit for that. In fact, over the past several years, small businesses have created nearly 2 out of every 3 new American jobs. And the question is, how do we build on that success? We've got to be relentless in our efforts to support small businesses who are creating jobs and helping to grow the economy. And that's been the purpose behind many of the policies I fought for as president. I've cut taxes for small businesses more than a dozen times. I've pushed for investments in infrastructure and faster internet. It's why we've made healthcare more accessible, affordable. Portable to give people the freedom to change jobs or launch that startup without worrying about losing their health insurance. And passing trade agreements is part of that agenda if those trade agreements are the right kinds of trade agreements. If they make sure that they're growing our businesses. And helping American workers by selling goods made in America across the rest of the world. And I've been talking a lot about this lately. Because I view smart trade agreements as a vital piece of middle-class economics. Not a contradiction to middle-class economics, it's a part and parcel of it. I believe that our country does best when everyone gets a fair shot. Everyone does their fair share, everybody plays by the same set of rules. And that means making sure everybody has got a good education. It means making sure that women are getting paid the same as men for doing the same work. It means making sure that folks have to have sick leave and family. Leave and that they can balance work and family in a fair way. It means working to increase the minimum wage all across this country. Because folks who have some of the toughest jobs oftentimes get the lowest pay.